Hello guys, and in today's video we will learn about arrow functions in JavaScript. So arrow functions are nothing but a shorthand representation of the usual functions that you have in JavaScript. So if you have a function, let's say add, right, and it takes two numbers and it will basically return a sum of these two numbers, right? I'll quickly just execute one example. I forgot to print it. Right, so this is just a simple add function. So you can see that for a simple add operation also we have to write like so many lines, right? And for functions in which you have like less number of statements, or in which you want to just put an expression and compute it quickly, we can just have instead here, let's say add. So we have to, this actually behaves like a variable here. We can just do this and we'll just return right. So here this add is, so this is an example of an arrow function in which I have two parameters here, num1 and num2, same as this function, and it just does the same thing. I'll just add it a different name, so I'll just show you. So you can see this also does the same thing. So instead of having this function writing this keyword, then this function name, we can just do it in a single line. So arrow functions are nothing but a shorthand representation where we have this open braces in which you have all these arguments, or and then you have this function body, right? And this is the arrow function. This is the symbol like equal to and greater sign, which indicates that this is an arrow function. So instead of also, so we can actually simplify it much further. Like instead of this return statement, we can actually remove that. So this will also return your, okay, no. So this will, okay, since I added this parenthesis, we need this return statement. If I just do num1 plus num2, which is much simpler, then again this will give me this same value. So there is nothing special about this. This is just a simpler representation of operations which you can do like in a simple manner. So let's see some examples of this. So good example would be like callbacks, right? So if you have callbacks, if you have worked with callbacks before, so first let's see with an example that I am just going to print something function. Let's say we have a temp function here, and this will nothing, this will only print some value, right? Let's say we are printing hello world here. So how do you, let's say I want to execute it after some specified time. So I can just put here, let's say 2000, which is after 2 seconds I want to run this particular function. So let's see what happens, right? So after 2 seconds I am printing here hello world. So you can see that first I have to define this function, then again I have to write this console statement here, then I have to put this function here. So this can be simply done instead with this particular syntax, that you can just add an arrow function here. So the code becomes much simpler to look at and also easier to maintain, right? So I'll just comment it out, and you can see that this will also have the same value printed. So these are some of the applications of arrow functions. It's usually helpful for stuff like callbacks. So you would see multiple examples in code that arrow functions are used, mostly in callbacks, or let's say you want to change some data structure, you want to perform some filter operations, and instead of explicitly defining a function separately, you can just add this callback function. You can just add this arrow function, and that will be executed like same as a normal function would do. So I'll take one more example here. Let's say I have a list, and I'll just put some values. Now what I want to do is I want to create a new list, and which will have just the square of these values, right? So one way to do is that you can have a for loop and then iterate over each one of those, and then again you square it and store it in a list, right? So that's one approach. But instead what you can do is you can just have a new list here, and you have my list. Then you can just use the map functionality and use a callback function, arrow function here. Let's say any element that I have, it will just be squared here, right? So you can simply pass this arrow function and all the numbers will be squared. So I'll just show you. I need to print that out also. Right, you can see all these numbers are squared now. So like map, you have then other, I'll just show some more examples. Let's say new list is filter. So filter is used for, so based on some condition you are filtering out elements from that list. So for any element, if it is greater than 5, then I'll accept it, otherwise I don't want that, right? So if I then again my new list, just clear it out. So you can see all the numbers which are greater than 5 are printed. So this is a short, so the same thing you can do with like normal functions also. You just define a function which takes an element and pass the function name here. But this is a much more like elegant way to write functions, because like you don't actually add any extra lines of code to maintain this particular function. You can just add everything in line rather than having a separate function definition altogether. So that's mostly for arrow functions. I hope you understand it, and let's see you in the next video.